Chapter 5 of The Car. He walked in beauty. Wherever he went, no matter what was happening around him, to him, of him, he walked in beauty, in clouds of color, sprays of greens and blues and reds. He could see sunsets in a bus depot bathroom, hear Schubert in the roar of an engine, feel grace in a pile of mud. Waylon Jackson. He looked relatively normal for a 45-year-old child of the 60s and 70s. He was balding, with rounded shoulders that made him seem bear-like, strong arms, not fat, but with a slight gut, that pushed his jeans down and gave him a faintly redneck look. He kept his hair cut short on the sides where he had hair, which enhanced the country look, and kept his beard short and even, or as even as he could hack it with scissors. He washed his clothes regularly, worked when he needed money, had long before given up booze and drugs, which he tried in the 70s, and for 32 years had not had a place to live other than a room now and then. Had not owned anything, and appeared on no forms except arrest blotters. He was learning. Now and then, when he talked to people about himself, actually very rarely, and they asked him what he was doing and why, he would say simply, "I'm learning," and he meant it. He tried to learn from every single thing he did, or that happened to him, or around him, or of him. If asked, he would say, he learned from wars and flowers, weather and bugs, windows and rocks, sticks, cities, prisons, mountains, curbs, women, children, and liars. Everybody, he would say over his furniture, but politicians. His furniture was a worn, loved, almost constantly used Martin 12-string guitar that he carried in a beat-up leather case. It had been with him so long he didn't think of it as separate. When he dressed, he put on his pants and shirt and shoes and picked up the guitar. He ate, drank, loved, and lived with the guitar next to him, just as the music from the guitar was part of his breath of life. Sometimes he sang throaty songs because his throat was old, but full, rich, earth tones that mixed with the bass chords on the guitar, and stopped people when they tried to walk past him singing on the sidewalk. Stopped them and made them throw money in his open guitar case and think of things like mothers that had never seen, or loves they wished they had, or dreams they hoped to have. He walked in beauty, but he walked. With the beauty, with the music in his head, the colors in his eyes and mind and soul. With the silver tinkling bells of his memories he walked. He lived completely for travel. You learn by moving, he said, and sometimes sang from many things he thought and wanted to say come out in songs. A stone is new if seen from the back. Life floats in a moving stream, and you have to move with it, or it leaves you. His travel took him to all places and all times. He'd been in race riots, hoed sugar beets with illegal Mexican workers, traveled down rivers with Pete Seeger, demonstrated against injustice, occupied university offices, been part of sit-ins, lay-ins, love-ins, stone-ins, worn long collars and bell-bottoms, and short hair, long hair, short hair, and finally almost no hair. Tried to live with money, then without, married once for show, once in fear, and then finally not at all. Did boycotts and strikes, rode the rails in jet planes, and at last, at the very last, and yet the newest part of his life, he'd come back to this, hitchhiking. To stand on a road with a small cardboard sign that said in black felt pen letters, "We'll sing for a ride." Through the late 80s, that way, through the messy, greedy petty, vicious little late 80s, trying to get rides with a cardboard sign and facing the yuppies who stopped and tried to understand his anguish when he had none. We'll sing for a ride. And he would. Sing songs to them while he rode, sitting in the back seat, going nowhere, everywhere, no time, every time. Sing songs of how ridiculous they were in their B&Ws. Sing songs of children starving while the yuppies wore their designer jeans and drank special water and spoke of gourmet wines and cultured yogurt and politically correct poetry. Not in anger, the songs, but in a kind of love and pity that they had become so shallow, so burned, so focused on self that the world had ceased to be important to them, except for what they could print on a t-shirt. We'll sing for a ride. Across the country east to west, and then north into Canada, and back across west to east, and twice more that way. Singing and learning and hitchhiking until his songs had taken him to the edge of the middle. The heart of it, close to the heart of it, where food was grown by work to sing about, where steel had been made and fire tamed and freedom fought for, there to stand with the sign, the 10th sign, the 100th sign. He had forgotten how many signs, how many towns, how many states, how many mountains. Forgotten everything but the people, to stand with a sign. We'll sing for a ride in Cleveland, Ohio. And that's the end of chapter 5.